Hello, and welcome to our mindfulness break. Today, we are so excited to be able to welcome Terri McNeely from the Child and Family Counseling Center of Westlake, who is going to lead us through a 20-minute mindfulness brain break exercise that parents can use while their children need a break from their academics. I'm Sarah Vintamaki. I'm the Executive Director. And I'd like Terri as well as Nicole to introduce ourselves before we get started. So Terri?
I'm Terri McNeely, and I'm a counselor at the Child and Family Counseling Center. Not only that, I'm a special education teacher at Rocky River Middle School, and I'm so happy to be here with you today.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Nicole Bourne-Crow. I'm a family resource specialist with Connecting for Kids. So I will be the one fielding your questions today. So if you have a question that you would like to ask, feel free to type it in the comments and it will get forwarded on to me. I may not answer it immediately. I'll answer it when it becomes appropriate to when we're fielding questions for the program. If you don't feel like you want to have your question publicly posted, you can also text me and I will make sure that Terri gets your question. You can text me at my phone number, which is 440-570-5908.
Thank you, Nicole. I wanted to mention that today's program is supported by Westlake Porter Public Library. We're so proud of our library partners for continuing to educate their families during this COVID-19 crisis. So Terri, why don't you lead us?
All right, thank you so much for having me. Today we're going to talk about mindfulness, why mindfulness is so important during all the times of our lives, but especially now with all the uncertainty. So we talk about mindfulness. The definition that I like to use is mindfulness is paying attention to the present moment without judgment. So what's important is paying attention and taking those time out of our days, or those little mindful breaks, to pause and to pay attention to where we're at, how we're feeling, how are we feeling physically, emotionally, mentally. So we tend to not want to take those pauses, so we have to practice. It's a practice that we continue every day, and the more we practice anything, the better we get at it. So we're going to practice today. So to start off, what I'd like for you to do is I just want you to take a moment and take a breath in, and then exhale that out, and then just notice how you're feeling in this moment. And whatever word pops into your head, don't take a lot of time. Just, what is that word? It could be feel tired, it could be happy, it could be nervous, it could be all kinds of things. Just take a word, doesn't matter, you no judgment with it. And then just hold on to that word, and we're just going to tuck that aside. And as you move through your practice this morning, I just want you to notice how you're feeling. Notice if there's any shifts that are happening with that word of where you're at right now. So why do we practice mindfulness? Well, what happens to ourselves and to create that sense of balance, and this is what I hope to bring to you today, to bring balance to your physical, emotional, mental state, so that you can start creating that sense of calm within yourselves, so that you can bring the calm within your families, in your house, and people around you. Because sometimes if we're not calm, if we're not taking care of ourselves, if we don't practice self-care, then we have a hard time extending that to the people that we love and care for. So think about, when you're on an airplane and they say, use your, you put on your oxygen mask first. That's exactly what we're trying to do here today. You are going to put on your oxygen mask. You're going to take care of yourself so that you could spread that calm and that mindfulness to the people around you. So we are going to just start with some simple movement. And I just want to also talk about a little bit what's happening in the brain when we practice mindfulness. We have this thing called the amygdala inside of our brain, and it's our fight or flight. The thing with the amygdala, it doesn't realize if we are in a life or death situation, or if we are just nervous about something, or we're nervous about the uncertainty, or we're nervous about something that's going on with our child. So what we have to do is kind of train that amygdala, and mindfulness in the breath is the best thing to do that. So the more we calm the amygdala and say, hey, it's okay, we actually then work the nervous system and we're calming the nervous system. So that's another reason why we practice this, to kind of get a hold of the amygdala and say, hey, we got this. So we'll work on that too. So the first thing I'm going to start with is some mindful listening. When we start opening up the senses, we start opening up our, just again, it's a way to calm the nervous system and bring that awareness and that pause that we really need throughout our day. So let's just take another nice deep breath in. We're going to suspend the breath, hold it, and then we're just going to slowly exhale that out. And I just want you to close your eyes. And if you don't feel comfortable closing your eyes, that's okay. Just look downward or inward. And then just notice your nice, easy breath. And I have my chimes. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to ring the chimes. And what I'd like for you to do is just listen. Listen to the vibration. I'm not sure how it's going to come across over the video. So we're going to do our best. So take an inhale. Exhale out, and then just listen. I'm going to do that another time. And then just notice. Take a pause. Just notice how you're feeling in this moment. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to do some mindful breathing. The breath is just it's our go-to. It's when we are in those moments where our amygdala or our nervous system is just taxed. And when we go to the breath, it just helps us calm that down. I always say the breath is there, it's free, it's always there with us. But we actually have to practice breathing. So when we're in those moments, of that frantic fight or flight, get me out of here, I can't take another moment. When we practice it, it just actually, it helps us, reminds us that it's always available to us. So I always like to I have my little breathing ball here, and it helps me, it's just kind of a visual too, when I'm in those moments that I kind of think about this big inhale and the exhale. So we're going to take 3 really nice cleansing breaths with the Hoberman sphere here. So again, just feel yourself as you're sitting, sit up nice and tall, elongate the spine. Or if you're standing, just ground yourself. And we'll do 3 breaths. A big inhale. Suspend the breath, hold it for a few seconds, and then we'll just slowly exhale that out. Good job. Okay, another big inhale. We're going to suspend the breath, hold it, and slowly exhale that out. Fully exhale and really empty it out. The bottom of the exhale. And we'll try one more time. Big inhale. Suspend, hold, And slowly exhale that out. And at the bottom of the exhale, just fully just empty. And then just notice, again, standing with your eyes closed or sitting nice and tall, just kind of notice, breathe, some little mindful listening, some mindful breaths, and where we're at now. Has there been any shifts? So important for us to pause throughout our day, just taking those moments, taking a breath, just listening to ourselves inside as well as our outside environment. And then just taking note. The other thing I would like to share with you guys is another way to become very mindful is movement. Movement actually helps us shift our energy. It helps us shift our mood. It helps us get in touch with our breath. And it just is a really good way to be mindful. So we're going to do just some really simple movements. Might be a little bit out of your comfort zone, but that's okay. It happens. And so just do your best. Be kind to yourself and do what you feel comfortable. So I'm going to go ahead and stand up. And if you would like to stand up, that would be great. Okay, the first thing we're going to do is we're just going to do some cleansing breaths. Big inhale, swoop it up, swoop it up. Big inhale, and then we're going to exhale. We're going to just sway to the right. Inhale up, just a little slight back bend, opening up our hearts. And then exhale to the other side. And then inhale up. Another opening up the heart space, and then exhale. As we exhale, we're going to go ahead and touch our toes. And here, just kind of taking a moment, feeling your feet on the ground. You might want to lift your feet up, sway your shoulders in a circle, figure eight one way, and then the other way. And then we're just going to roll up, roll our shoulders back, and roll them forward. And make sure you're breathing. Just make sure you're bringing the breath into all those kind of parts of our body that we don't even know really exist. Okay, so just move your feet around. We're going to go ahead and inhale up. We're going to bring our hands to our shoulders, and we're just going to do a nice spinal twist. So it's always good to kind of wake up the spine. Inhale left, exhale right, inhale left, exhale right. And again, just being aware of your breath. Inhale and exhale. All right, good job. The next thing we're going to do is we're just going to do simple cross crawls. And we do cross crawls to bring us balance, bringing the left side of the brain, the right side of the brain, left body, right body, back body, front body. We just kind of integrate. We integrate everything and bring balance. So I love cross crawls because it just feels like it grounds me. It just feels like I'm kind of here in this body in this moment. And it also brings balance. So just bring your hands to your shoulders again. We're just going to cross our left knee to our left elbow, or opposite elbow, opposite knee. Yeah, there you go. Good job. And again, being aware of the breath. Slowing it down if you need to. And sometimes this might be difficult. Like sometimes I'll be working with kids and they'll start doing this, and that's okay. Just do your best. Do your best. Be kind. All right, the next thing, which might be a little hard to see, but I'm just crossing my right foot over my left. So just crossing my feet. I'm going to bring my hands out. I'm just going to cross my hands over my chest. And here we're going to practice some breathing again. We're going to breathe from the bottom of our feet all the way up to the top of our head, and then exhale the front of the body back down to the feet. Okay, 3 breaths here. Inhale. Exhale out. This is a nice circular breath. We're just bringing it from the ground up. Inhale. And from the top of our head, back down to the body, through the body, and then back down to our feet. Exhale out. One more time. Inhale. And exhale out. Good. And shake that out. And then we're going to go ahead and cross our opposite leg. And then we're just going to crisscross our arms again. And we're going to do a nice inhale from the bottom of our feet, the top, and then back around. A circular breath. Inhale. Exhale out. Full breaths here. Inhale. Exhale out. One more time. Inhale. Exhale. All right. And then standing with our feet, we're going to go on our tiptoes and our heels, just feeling ourselves grounded in those little movement exercise. We're going to go ahead and inhale up, swoop it up, and then exhale out. And then just standing in mountain pose, notice. Roll your shoulders back. We're going to go around, roll our head in one way, and then roll it the other way. And just kind of roll one way and then the other. And then standing nice and still, taking that pause. Getting in touch with your breath. And notice how you feel in this moment. Have there been any shifts? The next thing we're going to do is some tapping. And this is, we tap on meridians or pressure points to help focus, to help calm the amygdala, and just to bring, again, more awareness. So what I'm going to challenge you to do is just kind of follow along with me and just take your time. And as you're tapping, just notice how you feel. But first, before we get started, what I'd like for you to do is just take a moment and think about something. We're going to tap on gratitude today. Gratitude's another way that we could bring mindfulness and shifts and balance into our lives, especially in times like this. When we're so uncertain of our future, when we're so uncertain of what's going to happen next week, what's going to happen tomorrow, when we could be grateful for today, when we could be grateful for what we have right in this moment, it actually changes the neural pathways in our brain. It actually helps our thinking, which then helps our mood. So I really encourage you, especially in times like this, just to think of like one good thing or three good things that are really going well in your life right now. And if you have to pause and do that, in the morning, halfway through the day, and then when you go to bed at night, it's just a really good practice. So let's just think of something that you're grateful for. So one thing that you're just super grateful for and thankful for in this moment. So let's breathe into that gratitude. And then we're going to do some tapping. We're going to tap on gratitude. So you'll take two peace fingers and you're just going to tap right on your temple here. Okay? We're not going to, normally I do pressure points on the face, but we're not going to do a lot of face movement today. So we're going to tap here and then we're going to just kind of tap on top of our head. Inhale, inhale, exhale that gratitude. And then back to the temple. Then we're just going to massage your ears. And then tap on our temple. Breathing in, noticing. Tap, breathing in gratitude. Exhaling out anything that doesn't serve you. Any negativity that might be going on. Just inhale gratitude. And then we're going to just tap right here on this point here. This is a really good point for our immune system, for our nervous system. So anytime you're feeling anxious throughout the day, anytime you're kind of feeling a little low on energy, just tap right here. and notice. Bring the breath in, breathe in your gratitude. And then the next one is right underneath. It's like right underneath, I call it like the monkey. You know, so if you're doing it with your kids, you could like make monkey noises. That would be good. And then right here above the rib cage, you're gonna tap, 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 tap. And then we're gonna tap our wrists right here and really tapping in that gratitude. Inhaling, exhaling out. And then tap here, tap our fingers, tap, 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 tap. Good. And then we're gonna big inhale, swoop up all that gratitude, all that positive energy. Inhale, inhale, swoop up, reach up high. Exhale out. Let's do that again. Another big inhale, swoop it up, all that gratitude. Exhale out. And then just standing in a nice tall spot posture, really elongating the spine, rolling your shoulders back, standing in your power, standing in your calm. Just take a pause. Get in touch with your breath. And just notice. Notice how you're feeling in this moment. What's that one word that describes how you're feeling now? And if your eyes are closed, go ahead and open your eyes. And those are, if you notice if there was any shifts or changes, that's great. If not, that's okay too. Sometimes we just do the best we can with what we have. And again, I can't emphasize enough of taking those pauses, taking that time during your day, just to be, to go inward, to breathe. And sometimes we feel like we don't have a second, we don't have a minute with all that's going on to take care of ourselves. But if you just start with 1 or 2 minutes a day and just like stepping outside and breathing in the fresh air, or just taking those mindful moments, really it just takes a moment to just self-regulate and to bring balance, that balance and calm that will then help you take care of the people that you love and care for.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much, Terri. I will tell you that my mood and emotions shifted during that time frame as well.
Yeah.
Now, what we're anticipating is that parents will be watching this as a video, so they could end it now. But what we're going to do now is open it up for families that are watching it live and not through the video to be able to ask us some questions. So I know the number one question that I always get is, when should a parent, if they're trying to do mindfulness with their child, when is a good time for them to be doing these exercises?
Well, like I said, I think it's a practice. So I think if you encourage your child just to be aware and to just practice that breathing, because at a time, it's funny, because when they're escalated and you tell them to breathe, I'm telling you, you know what you're going to get is, I'm breathing. You know, it's not going to work out so well. So, but if you're practicing it, and if you just take those little, when you're in a calm space, when everybody's like at the dinner table or something, everybody, let's take a mindful breath before we eat our meal, or let's take a mindful breath before we transition to, you know, our next activity. So if you incorporate that through the day, then it becomes automatic, just like anything else that you practice. So if in those times where things are escalated, you can bring it down to remember a mindful breath, then they'll get there a lot faster than if you just say, now breathe. So I mean, that's our instinct, is like, we want to do that. So I really encourage it to be a practice. And I also think the gratitude goes a long way too. So even those 3 good things as you're sitting down for a meal, or before you go to bed, or before you jump in the bath at the end of the day, you know, just let's think about 3 good things that we're grateful for. And that, again, you're going to start seeing shifts. You will see the shifts within yourself which is so important. And then that actually, it's like, it's contagious. It spreads throughout the home. So it's really important just to practice.
Yeah. And so thank you, Terri. We purposely scheduled this for 10:30 in the morning for our original one to kind of demonstrate to parents that maybe a good break while they're working on the academics and to do some of these, even if it's not the entire 20 minutes of the exercises we went through, but just listening to the sounds or the breaths or the movement one, they could pick out the parts that they want and be able to do that practice time. And whether it's 10:30 or at dinner, but I agree, that's just so important. And then I know personally, we started doing the gratitude at dinner after you've done this talk for us so many times. So thank you, Terri. And what I found at first was that my children didn't know what to say, and to be okay with that, they would say the same thing every time. I'm grateful for this dinner, right? And I just kind of let that go. And I and my husband modeled different things we could be grateful for. And over time, they've been able to pick up on different things that they're grateful for as well. So that would be the other thing I would encourage parents. At least I saw in my own family that it took a while for my children to know what to say to be grateful for, other than I'm grateful for this food I'm eating, or I'm grateful for the weather, right? And then that was good enough, even if that's what they said every day for 6 months. Eventually, they were able to come up with other things. So.
And I love what you said, Sarah, because it's okay. Because sometimes they won't have anything. It's like, I have nothing. I'm not grateful for anything. And it's like, oh, it's okay. We'll get there. Just allowing where they're at that moment, and that's okay. So.
Another question we get from parents all the time is, I need to tailor this to my child. My child won't participate, or I'm really struggling. So where could a family go to be able to learn more?
Well, we have all kinds of resources. One book that I really like is Mindful Parenting. I actually have a copy of it here. And I am going to, Sarah's going to send off a resource page. This is it's a really quick read, and it's got resources and very specific to families. So that's always nice. And then they have an online component too. Also, we do our virtual tele sessions at the Child and Family Counseling Center. So if you needed like something specific, you could call me, make an appointment, or you could also call one of the other counselors. And I would say, it is very individualized. What works for one child, what works for one person, it's not going to work for another. So you got to kind of find your go-to. Some people, like getting outside and going for walks. Some people, don't like that. Some people love, I work with kids and they love the tapping. Others just kind of feel uncomfortable. So whatever works for you. So I think it's very individualized, but I think the main thing is the breath. If you could just keep breathing and just keep practicing that breath work, it really does. You'll find some shifts. And then you'll find time to take those pauses, to take the time to listen and do some mindfulness listening. It all kind of rolls. But working with the breath first is the first step. So.
Great. All right. Well, thank you, Terri, so much. We are so grateful for Westlake Porter Public Library for sponsoring this program. But we're also very grateful to you, Terri. When I was thinking about the things I was grateful for, I actually said you. The fact that you volunteered to do this during a very upsetting and tumultuous time for all of us. I'm just grateful that you would share what you know with the families that we have.
Well, I'm so grateful to be able to do it. So thank you.
All right.
Thank you.